the super speedway.
Minus 30. I don't think I'm that bad. I mean, the fucking four sucks, and then the fucking two drives like an asshole.
Welcome to episode 287 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Tuesday, July 18th, 2023. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. Little Kyle Larson for you as we start
I
the
heard that
podcast.
earlier today. Yeah, I like that one.
It's a good one. Basically, when driver audio that's entertaining comes across my social media and it doesn't have music in the background, and I have time, it's going to make its way into the intro. So there you go.
I really like that one. Yeah, he's just subtly upset. Poor guy.
Well, he had a rough
good.
week. I mean, he did take a pretty good tumble on, what was it, Wednesday night or
Yeah,
Thursday
the Eldora
night?
Million. Yeah.
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 A little nervous about that wreck, but came out okay.
He's okay.
Yeah.
He's okay.
It's pretty
And
wild.
he
one, though.
rallied.
Yeah.
He rallied. Third place. He's good.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
Well, New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend. We're recording Tuesday, which is our normal day, but we had one less day to marinate on this race because we raced Monday. James, tell me if you've heard this story before.
Mm-hmm.
Monday race, Martin Truex
Yep.
Jr. dominates, gets the win.
Yep. That sounds right.
Feels pretty
Sounds
normal,
about
right?
Yeah, that was what Denny Hamlin say. He always, whenever he wins by 30 points or 3 touchdowns or whatever. Like,
Right.
Yeah, kinda. That's
Yeah.
I was looking at, so just because I was curious, I wanted to rattle some of these off for you because there's a lot of them. And the ones I'm not going to mention are in the high 90s. So the races he's won, here's I won't do them all.
Okay.
Here's just a few of the laps led. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, 2019 Martinsville, 464. 2016 Charlotte, 392. Loudon this year, 254. Darlington, 2021, 248. I'll do one more. Dover, 2007. He's like spanning generations. 216 laps led for that one. My goodness.
Yeah.
That's just a handful of his wins. Oh my God.
The best thing about it, though, is despite him completely dominating this race and destroying the rest of the field, it was a pretty damn good race.
It was a great race. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. This was I don't know, man. That track was wide.
Yeah.
I really liked it. It was racier than heck, man. I thought they put on a good show.
Yeah, Junior was talking about it in his podcast today, and basically 5 lanes is what he was saying, and yeah, it was pretty good. There wasn't much more room on it to race on, that's for sure. I mean, they already run below the apron in the corners, so now they were running right up by the wall. It was just crazy.
Yep. Yeah, he I mean, it was Truex was running that really high line. I feel like I haven't seen anybody run that line consistently, like for an entire Loudon race.
Well, Junior was talking
was
about it. So part of what it is they've put sealer on the track for years, and then they've treated the track with PJ1 and all that stuff over the years. But now that it's a wet weather capable track, they can't do that anymore. So the treatment is all worn off, but that sealer still has grip on the outside, and I guess it modifieds run up there. And it just started. Junior said you wouldn't have seen it if you weren't at the track, but a couple of cars in the back of the field started doing it, and they started gaining some ground, and he said you just could watch it ripple right up through the field until suddenly Truex was doing it and making it work. So
as soon as one guy does it, the rest of the field starts.
well, they all got that SMT data. They got their spotters on the roof. They're all paying attention to what everybody else is doing.
Oh yeah. It doesn't take long.
You can't sneak anything by anybody anymore.
No, it's like when Truex was ripping the fence at Atlanta. I was like, okay, then everybody starts, everybody's like, whoa, and they all start moving up.
I guess the only one that really worked was Larson at North Wilkesboro hitting that apron. Nobody else could quite do that like he was doing.
Yeah, nobody can move the car quite like him, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Not many can.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So Truex gets himself another win.
34.
Yeah, 34 wins. He was asked after the race, because he's been asked multiple times, whether he's coming back next year. and still non-committal. Told a little story about a boat he's buying. I don't.
Yeah, he did. He told the boat. Yeah.
Didn't sound real promising that he wants to return, but I mean, first of all, how long is he going to be able to wait? I mean, obviously there's deals that have to be made and stuff that he can't wait forever. And and at the same time, I mean, do you feel like this is the swan song for Truex? Do you think he's coming back?
Certainly sounds like it. We talked about this last week, didn't we? Where it was kind of rumblings have already started, and then he goes and wins this race, and he did not commit. Like, he was not committing.
No.
To coming back.
If anything, he said, weird. He said he's buying a boat that he's been shopping around for the last 5 years, and he made a comment about winning the championship and possibly just saying see ya. So
yeah,
I mean, he's obviously thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, why couldn't he pull the Carl Edwards and just be like, yeah, I'm good.
I mean, there'd be no better way to go out than winning the title and just saying, "Okay, I'm done. Peace, guys."
Yeah, that would
actually be pretty awesome. I would have a lot. Now, let me put it this way: I've had my issues with Truex over the years. I don't want to see Truex go yet. I think Truex is. I mean, I think he's still in his prime, man. I think he's having one of his best seasons right now. It's too early for him to go, but I would have so much respect for him to see him do something like that.
Yeah, I think Dale Jarrett, I was listening to NASCAR and NBC, and Dale Jarrett said, I won my championship at my age 43 season.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of productive years left. So, I mean, we're seeing Kevin Harvick racing late into his 40s. And he's been phenomenal. I think for where he's at and at this point in his career, I think he's racing a phenomenal season.
Yeah.
But Truex has got a couple of good years left, it seems. But yeah, he, last year it looked like maybe there was some slippage. But, I think one thing that hasn't gone, not that it's gone unnoticed, but James Small seems to have, they seem to be like they're clicking really well now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the calls are being made the right way. Like James Small's not second guessing himself. I mean, late in this race, he makes the right call for 2 tires, and as fast as Truex was, nobody could really do anything.
Well, they finally made the right call in this race.
I know, and that's what I mean. But how many times has Truex blown opportunity? I mean, the 19, I should say the 19 team, they've blown all these opportunities for so many years since James Small's taken over, and now, I think like Truex said, if he comes back, they need the right driver. Who's committed and can give him the best. And I think right now that whole team's just gelling really well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's what it takes, right? I mean, especially.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had this conversation before. Every one of these drivers in these cars is excellent. And when the cars are that equal too, everything's got to function. It's tougher to win now than ever because everything has to click together because everybody in this sport is at the top of their game. So the only way to get an edge anymore, aside from sneaking something through the tech inspection,
right,
is to work better together at this point.
Yep.
So I think that's what you're seeing. And we were talking pretty high on William Byron last week after his Atlanta win, but Truex right now is putting together a season. He's putting together a championship winning season right now. I mean,
last 10 races he's a separator, and now he's got the points lead. I mean, they're handing the points lead back and forth right now, but he's got it at this moment, and he's outscoring the field at a pretty high clip.
Yeah.
This race, Eric, was nearly perfect, 60 points.
Yeah.
And 7 playoff points. I mean, that's what you want. He is the master of the stages.
He is.
So he locks in a bunch of playoff points there, and if he can win the regular season title, he's a shoe-in for the round of 8. So. Just like Byron, I think those two are pretty clear out front. But Gibbs, the Gibbs program seems to be getting better. It's hard because Christopher Bell has been doing really well in the point standings, but he's not getting top 5s. And then you have Hamlin, who's like, what the heck are we doing wrong?
Right.
Because Truex is just crushing us, but I feel like they're still running pretty well.
Yeah. Christopher Bell ran good in this race.
He could. I mean, team let him down.
Yeah.
In this one, I think a little bit.
Yep.
Because this is his kind of home ground because he dominates this place.
This is Truex's home track too. One of
course
4 or 5. I think half the season is Truex's home track.
They're all Truex tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Denny still gets a top 10 too, finishes 7th. So, but like you said, I mean, Bell was in the running for this one, but Denny really wasn't.
No.
Honestly, you know, probably Blaney really had the best shot to compete with Truex until they beat themselves.
They beat themselves, and so did the 10.
Yeah.
Eric Almirola.
Yeah, the 10.
Early on,
what is it about this place? Almirola can suck all year long. He gets to New Hampshire, and he looks like a god.
Well, it's the opposite. He's the reverse Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch looks like a god everywhere else, and then he comes to New Hampshire, and it's like, oh, he's immortal.
How
crashed in qualifying, crashed in the race.
While I was waiting for you to come on tonight, I was watching Radioactive and listening to the pit call where Almirola comes off a pit road. He says, "Did you get all the tires on?" And they said, "Yes." And then he goes into turn 1 and wrecks, and he says, "Something broke. What happened?" And they said, "Wheel fell off." It's like, how pissed you got to be. You freaking asked the question and were assured that, yeah, everything's good. We're no problem. And you freaking lose a wheel.
There's a reason Stewart-Haas Racing is still hunting for another driver right now.
God.
Because Eric Almirola's got to be fed up.
Well, I think was it the teardown this week where they're like, he's got to just be like, why did I come back? What am I doing right now?
You get to be a race car driver. That'd be my only retort.
If he's talking to Martin Truex Jr., Truex is not coming back next year.
Don't want to have that season.
He's telling Martin, like, come on, dude, just hang it up. You'll end up with a season like mine. Don't come back.
Yeah, don't come back.
Truex had that. Go get on the boat and do some fishing.
Yeah, there you go. Oh my God. Yeah, I felt bad for Eric because I felt like he might have had a good piece. Nobody was competing with Martin in this race.
No.
God dang Joey Logano.
Yeah.
Like,
he's another one that you just know he's going to be toward the front at this place.
Well, he was coming at the end of the race.
Yep.
I was like, my God, Joey just won't go away.
Yeah, 2 more laps he'd have been to Martin's bumper.
Which makes me in the way I know a Toyota won this race, but the way the Fords came out off the trailer, as they say, makes me wonder what could happen at Phoenix if some of the Fords sneak into the Final Four.
Right.
Because there's similarities here, and I just wonder how that might play out a little bit, and if Joey can figure this out again, or Blaney, if Blaney can kind of navigate it, those guys seem to maybe have something. They might have something, but they got to get there. I think. Even
Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick's been having a great season. He's
having an awesome
a great season for not winning, and gets another top 5 here. Ran well here all day. Led 10 laps in a race that hardly anybody led any laps in. I mean, he was one of only 3 drivers with double-digit laps led.
Oh,
the other was Austin Dillon. I mean, so
Eric, I came prepared with Kevin Harvick, two Kevin Harvick nuggets.
Okay.
This was his 810th career start, which locks him in. He won't go any higher. I think he'll be 8th all time, as he retires.
Unless he pulls a Mark Martin.
Or Ryan Newman, who's clicking him off now. But the fun stat out of this was his running at the finish. So 810 starts. He has finished 762 races. That puts him second all time to the King.
Wow.
He has finished more races than anybody in the history of the Cup Series outside of Richard Petty.
That's incredible.
That's awesome. He passed Mark Martin for the honor of being. He's not going to catch the King. I think he's about 78 races short on that one. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. I'm like, man, this guy, he's raced more than Dale Earnhardt. My God, he replaced the man, and he's been in the sport longer. It's what a career. I'm just fascinated by his season he's having. He's just running so well. I feel like he's going to lock into the playoffs here because he's just so far ahead in points. So good run for Harvick.
Yeah, like you said, just terrific season for having not won a race yet.
Not the best team out there right now, but him and Rodney, they've got something. So pretty cool.
Yeah, can you imagine Stewart-Haas when he's gone?
Oh my God. The drivers that they're circling to replace Almirola, I'm concerned. So I've had my concerns though. But they want real racers, Eric. Real racers.
Right. 6 races left to go in the regular season. And another one that I think we need to keep our eye on going into or heading into the playoffs that isn't going to make a run for the championship, but certainly could get himself into the playoffs with a win. Who's knocking on the door is Brad Keselowski. Another great run for Brad Keselowski in that 6 car.
He's over 100 points in right now.
Yeah.
To the good. So, yeah, if he keeps doing what he's doing, he should be okay.
Top 5 finish for him. Great day. Never really, I mean, he wasn't in contention for the win, but he was up there all day.
Yeah, he said as a driver he was very pleased with this race, but he said as an owner he wants more speed out of the car.
Yeah.
Wants the cars to be a little faster. So curious to see. I mean, that team has way outperformed where they ended up last year. I think with Buescher winning. RFK. It's tight at the top, man. There's a lot of teams up there, and both of those guys are in the mix right now. So it's fun to see Brad mixing it up with these guys again.
Yeah, we go to Michigan in a couple of weeks, a place he'd love to win at. That'd be a great win for Brad.
He'd love his Truex moment, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he's good at Watkins Glen, and of course we finished the regular season with Daytona, which obviously Brad's a favorite there.
He's good there as well. Yep.
So Brad's a favorite, and the 6 car is a favorite there.
Yeah. If you're Brad and you're 100 points to the good, going into Daytona, and there's nobody who can overtake you by winning, I mean, you just go all out.
Right.
It's gonna be. That's part of the reason I love that race is because you've got different point scenarios, and Bubba Wallace is going to be on the bubble. I feel like all the way to the bitter end here. So
yep.
Unless he can win Michigan or something.
Yeah,
but
it's
going to be interesting
coming too. So.
Yep, those guys are going to be tough. Reddick will be tough. But yeah, it's going to be. The bottom is interesting. McDowell just keeps plugging away.
Well, and the fact that we've got
McDowell
2 road courses right before Daytona too. I mean,
yes,
there's
He's basically have good finishes.
Basically 3 wild cards in a row.
Yeah, nothing tells me that Michael McDowell is going to win these races, but my God, he's not going to go away.
No,
he's not going to. No, he's going to top 10 his way through this thing.
No, I mean, do you see a weak spot for Michael McDowell? Maybe Richmond is probably the biggest weak spot for him.
Yeah, Richmond will be his worst spot.
So I mean,
everything else is pretty. I mean, he'll be good at Indy, he'll be good at Daytona, and he'll be good at Watkins Glen. So yeah,
great way to end.
Pocono, he'll be all right. He'll be all right at Pocono. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Noah Gragson loses a wheel as well. Another hard hit for Gragson. 2 lost wheels in the same race. Yeah, that was a hell of a hit. It's I mean, obviously we've had fatalities at New Hampshire. You hit hard at New Hampshire. It's those aren't soft hits going into turns, and those safer barriers help. But I imagine they still hurt,
even with the safe barrier. Yeah, they do. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Couldn't even celebrate his birthday week.
Right. Kyle Busch might as well not even showed up this weekend. Terrible weekend for them.
Third DNF at New Hampshire in the last 4 starts.
Yeah.
I think I saw.
Yeah.
He's just always been terrible there. I don't understand it.
Well, I mean, rain
We've
helps.
talked about that a long time ago. Yeah, good point. Okay, he was on the pole that day, or he was up front in that one.
Yeah.
He has a win there, though, doesn't he? He has to.
Yeah, he does. I think so. I'm pretty sure he does.
Oh, yeah, it was one of his first wins back in the Kellogg's days. Oh, my God. Ever since then, my God. What a weird thing. It's like, it's like, I don't know. It's like Superman in Kryptonite,
Well, I mean, it's a unique track, though, James. There's not. I mean, there's some similarities to Phoenix, but not really.
Gateway.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, really,
he won Gateway.
It's
Did he win?
Yeah, it's its own track,
Yeah, it is.
That's why Almirola can come in here and win.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Speaking of rain, let's talk about that. We postponed the race till Monday. NASCAR made an early decision on Sunday to postpone it. Dale Jr. had some criticism on his podcast today about it. I didn't even think about it until I'm watching the race on Monday, and I see the onboard shot from the bumper cam, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. They got mud flaps on these cars. They got a rain package. What the hell did we just cancel a race for rain for when we have a wet weather package? Why did we cancel the race so damn early? Junior said it's like taking Cup Series and wrapping it in bubble wrap. We've got all this stuff that we can put on the cars, but we're too scared to do it. Meanwhile, we run the windshield wipers that look freaking ridiculous in the Cup Series because they're designed for aerodynamics and not to clear the windshield. But
did you watch Coda when it rained?
Yeah, I know. He wasn't talking about like downpours, but he was saying on Sunday that in the afternoon it wasn't raining anymore. The track was wet. And they could have raced.
Yeah, people were saying on that social media site that we like or don't like that it looked like it had cleared up. They could have probably gotten it in. So
yeah.
Oh well, what are you gonna do? I mean, you're danged if you do, danged if you don't.
If you've got flood warnings all over the area, it kind of err on the side of caution.
Yeah, it's tough. That's tough. Like you gotta, I'd rather. And it was a beautiful day on Monday, so yeah, totally good with it.
Yeah, no worries on Monday. Monday was good to go, and we know you like Monday races. I don't mind them. So.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it, man. I was working at home, so I got my laptop. I don't know how I think you said you were working at home too.
Yep.
I had my laptop out, and then my daughter was at the house with me, and she was watching the race. I was like, this is great. She paid attention for a solid 15 or 20 minutes, and she picked Austin Dillon as her driver for the day.
Nice.
I didn't have the heart to tell her because he was pit cycling around and he was near the lead, and she was explaining to me how he was doing so good, and I was like, yes, he's doing great. Now, honey, there's this thing called pitting. I was trying to. She didn't get it, and then she was off, put a dress on, and playing princesses or something.
Right.
I lost track of her at that point. So.
I will say my setup here is
good stuff, man.
I have a 32-inch Samsung monitor that my computer connects to that I use for an external monitor, but it's also got the TV stuff all built into it. So I just flipped that on YouTube TV and watched it, just set my laptop up in front of the screen, and I literally had the race right on in front of me on my desk. So it was perfect. Get my work done and watch some racing.
Yep. It was great. Yep. It was great.
You want to talk about the restart thing? I know we got an explanation today. Do we want to? We still
we did. We have sources.
Yeah, we have sources.
Well, yeah. So if anybody watched the race who may have been confused, we got clarification on it, but I don't know. Feels like Jeff Gluck needs clarification on it. But Bowman. So here's my initial thoughts, and Eric, maybe what I'll do here, Eric, because we can do good cop, bad cop. I'll be bad cop.
Okay.
So I saw it and I'm like, Bowman wrecked. Why is he restarting where he wrecked from?
Right.
Like he should have to go to the back because his car was I saw it. His car was sideways. He was smoking down the backstretch. He slowed. Go to the back.
Yep.
Now, in hindsight, we've been clarified, but go ahead. What were your thoughts? Because you said you had a retort to this.
Yeah, so my argument on this is it's going to be a different angle here, but and this goes back to the Darlington issue where we had a lineup issue. We had a lineup issue at Chicago. My argument is, James, is that the rule kind of is or has always been that you have to maintain speed, and if you don't, then you lose those positions.
Yes.
But my argument is that if you have a car spin out, and the rule is as long as you pass him while he's spun out, then you get that spot, and he doesn't get that spot back. Then now, instead of hitting the brakes coming into a caution, you're throttling up, man. These guys are all nuts. Mm-hmm. They're going to pile in there, and now you have giant wrecks because, like the old days when we used to race back to the line, because there's more to lose by hitting the brakes than there is from throttling up. So I think it creates a safety issue if you rule it that way.
Right.
So, and my argument too has always been, I worked as a race director here at the local track. We had a timing line on the front stretch and that was it. NASCAR has, 8 to 16 of them or however many they have on some of the bigger tracks. And it's a hell of a lot easier to use a line that a computer scores than it is to eyeball it and try and decide who is where. And so I think you just err on the side of the computer, and the computer put them there, and that's it,
Right. Yeah. After you and I talked about it with our source, our named source, I'm totally okay with it because Bowman basically maintained speed. A series of events helped him in that instance because, if he ends up backwards or stopped on the track, he can't have his spot back. But the 43 comes in there and clips him and brings him back around, straightens him out, and he kept going. So I guess, I'll note that moving forward that, maybe it looks like he should go to the back because he caused a caution. Or he was the caution, the reason for the caution, right? I mean, Ty Gibbs got into him.
Right.
But still, I guess I stand corrected in my initial thought being, I don't understand that, but I'm totally good with it. If that's the rule, that's the rule. Now, what we've had, and this was talked about on the teardown, is I think we have drivers fiddling around with the system out there.
Mm-hmm.
Which the tower, what is the tower supposed to do? I'll actually defend the tower on that one.
Yeah.
I don't know what the tower's supposed to do when Kevin Harvick's blocking the track at Chicago or, whatever other examples we have. There's shenanigans.
They're screwing around on restarts too. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but.
Oh yeah, the Xfinity Series race. Yeah, they are. Yep, and NASCAR's dropping the hammer on them for that. So that makes sense too. You
want to know why this doesn't matter, James?
Let's have it.
Because it was for 14th effing position. Who the hell cares?
Well, tell that to the 17. Because he was pretty upset.
Chris Buescher to quit whining.
Oh man.
It's 14th place. If it was for the lead or for 5th or whatever, I can understand, really spending the time to fix it. But
I guess too, it really doesn't matter because if you spin that aggressively, get sideways that aggressively, he's cooked the tires at that point.
Yeah.
So, and he didn't pit, which probably should, I don't know, maybe he should have. But, track position is such a bear. We saw Blaney, a great example is Blaney. They screwed him up on pit road, or they dropped the jack and he went over the hose. And he was, like you said earlier, Eric, maybe he could have challenged Truex, but he got stuck back in the 20s and never rebounded.
22nd.
Yep.
So
Exactly. Yep, and then you had like Byron, who looked like he might be pretty fast, but gets in an incident on pit road and he's screwed. So, that's the way the race plays out sometimes.
Yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles.
There you go. Say. Any other cliche? What's the other cliches we can throw on there? That's good.
I don't know. That's the best one I got. 34 victories and 641 Cup Series starts for Martin Truex Jr. Where is he at on the all-time win list now, James?
Oh, I don't have the list in front of me, but
it was just on the Twitter. I know you don't go on Twitter anymore.
I did when I was looking at how many wins he has where he's just flat out dominated everybody. 16 of those 34 wins are over 100 laps led. And if you want to add the 90 laps led in there, that's you boost that up to 19 out of 34, so over half, basically. So I'm gonna look up the all-time wins list.
He is now tied with Kurt Busch for 25th.
Oh, that's right. He is tied for 25th. Ooh, who's better? Who'd you rather have, Truex or Kurt? I know my answer.
So, like, right now?
Like career. Whose career would you rather have had? Let's say Truex's career ended today. He couldn't race anymore.
They're so similar because they both have such a split
crazy
career. I would probably take Truex because there's a lot less controversy. The problems that Truex had weren't his fault.
I'll say this, and here's why I'd pick Truex. He's come on like a freaking freight train the second half of his career.
Yeah.
Really, like Kurt flashed early, got his championship, and then it was a win. It was a win.
Yeah.
It was a second win, maybe. He had ones and twos.
Well, anger management will do that to you,
Yeah, exactly. And then he does have the 500. You can put that in the bank. But Truex, he's been fireworks the last half of his career. So I'd probably take Truex because I think that'd be a much more fun ride.
Yeah,
with Kurt.
Both of them, if Kurt didn't get into the trouble that he got into that caused him to have to reset his career, probably definitely got more wins at the very least. Truex, if he was in a competitive situation through the early part of his career, who knows what he could have done. Both of them.
That's the thing.
It's both, and they both. They still both have a Cup Series win. They're both, probably easily Hall of Famers, possibly first round Hall of Famers. I mean,
oh yeah, they're pretty high up the list.
Yeah.
And I mean, Kurt came in when Roush was a powerhouse.
yeah,
And that's the fork in the road situation, I think, is if he doesn't sign with Penske, I wonder what his career looks like, and I wonder what happens to Roush.
yeah.
Because Roush never rebounded from losing Kurt. That was, I don't know, that team just was not the same post Kurt. And I know Kenseth had a lot of success, but there was nothing quite like Kurt for them after that, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
They're still fighting off. Those days.
Yep.
Because they were at such a high. 5 teams in the 10 race chase for the championship. That was quite an era they were having.
What do you think of the Dale Jr. Loudon the Lobster controversy? Are you familiar with this situation?
I didn't hear about the Junior Loudon Lobster.
Dale Jr. refused to call the Lobster Loudon the Lobster on the broadcast because he said that Lobster is like 65 years old and Loudon is not his name. They just came up with that. So he refused to call him Loudon. He penned the name Larry for him, which also is likely not his name, but Junior's okay with that. He did not want, he refused on the broadcast to call him Loudon, and he stood up for his opinion on his podcast this week. I thought it was pretty funny.
Oh man. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that Dale Jr. just keeps it real.
Yeah.
He just keeps it real.
He's one of us, man.
That's great.
He's one of us.
He is one of us.
Ty Gibbs was our highest finishing rookie in 27th place. As you mentioned, Martin Truex Jr. regains the point standings lead with 17 points over William Byron. Looking at the point standings, James, we have outside, the last 4 in right now: Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Bubba Wallace, Michael McDowell, and on the outside looking in are 4 looking in: Daniel Suarez, AJ Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs, and Alex Bowman. A bit of shuffling went on back there. Suarez dropped 2 positions, I believe it was, to fall back out. Bubba jumped back in. Yeah, interesting moves back there. Interesting to see what's going to happen. It's pretty much those guys. I mean, for the most part, Brad's 108 to the good. Yeah. Even Chris Buescher's 97 to the good. It's really Bubba and McDowell right now that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Suarez hanging on there. AJ Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs, Alex Bowman. They're getting towards need to win territory, but they still got a chance.
Chase Elliott's a must win now.
It's not going to happen, man. He's not going to get in. I'm telling you.
I know. Your Dale Jr. finally changed his tune and came over to your side too.
Well, he still thinks he's going to get in. He thinks he's going to win.
I think he can. I don't know if he will.
I think he can. I don't think he's going to.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. So we agree. We just sound different when we say it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's driving a freaking Hendrick car and he's a past champion. And I mean,
and he's coming off a 5-win season. So
but I mean, I don't know, man. They just aren't clicking. And as I said, right now you've got to click. And
it's a season of chaos for him.
Yeah.
And this happens from time to time. He may go winless for all we know.
Yeah.
But he's got top 10s in over half of his starts. His average finish is better than it was last year. So it's not like he's not around. He's not leading any laps.
And I think this is the suspension that did this. I think you got a guy who got hurt, came back ready to go, was just starting to gain some momentum, and then gets himself suspended for a week.
A little rattled, yeah.
And it threw everything off, man. He's got
a stretch of the schedule here, like going to Richmond where his car was really good. Yeah. Let's get past Richmond and see if we are in the. I'll give him 2 more weeks.
Oh, Richmond, Watkins Glen. I mean, there's no shortage of races he can win coming up.
Yeah, he's not going to point his way in, but let's. I'm not counting him out just yet. I'm not ready to put the nail in the coffin. We get past Richmond, and I'll get the hammer and the nail out and have it in my hand ready to go.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, man. But I mean, okay, so let's talk about that real quick before we move on to other stuff. There's not a lot of news this week. We got some time. How big of a deal is that if you're I mean, we talked about it back in the Dale Jr. days, but look, we legit saw a hit in the ratings this season when Chase Elliott wasn't racing. What does this mean for the Cup Series if Chase Elliott doesn't make the playoffs.
I think Napa's probably grumpy.
Well, yeah.
Napa and Ally.
But I mean, does it hurt a series right now that has momentum?
I mean, as long as he's racing, I mean, we might see a little dip, but as long as he's racing, fans will tune in to watch.
Yeah.
They may not be as invested, but they'll tune in to watch. Him not being around is a bigger problem.
Right.
That's the Dale Jr. effect. You know, that was rough. Dale Jr. being gone was rough there for a little bit, but that's what Chase does. You know, same thing.
I had to go back and look because in the teardown they were talking like Michigan is a legit chance for Chase, but Chase has never won at Michigan. Not only in the Cup Series, but he's never won in any series at Michigan.
Yeah.
I don't really see Michigan as
no.
Pocono maybe, certainly Watkins Glen. I mean, I think Watkins Glen is
Richmond,
his best shot.
I think Richmond is
Richmond
actually
too. Yeah, Richmond.
I don't want to count Richmond out just yet.
Because they ran so good earlier this year, and
I think they can take
Chase.
what they learned.
Yeah,
I think they can take what they learned. I think that's a legit shot.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's probably that and Watkins Glen. I think are his best two shots.
Yeah, and Daytona, anything can happen.
Yeah,
anything can happen.
Yeah,
but
I mean, he's definitely
it.
a restrictor plate racer, super speedway racer. So, but
Yeah.
interesting stuff going into the playoffs. Can you believe we're only 6 races away from the playoffs?
I know. Yeah, when I went to Racing Reference and saw that we were at race 20, I just was oh man.
I don't know where it went, man.
Yeah,
we just started.
Well, when we start, yeah, I know. When NASCAR hits the summer months, it starts to go real fast.
Yeah, it
like I
does.
feel like there's always a slow burn at the start of the season, and then we get through this. We start getting into the summer, and then once you get past the Coke 600, it's like, okay, here we go, let's go.
It's the playoff that does it. You know, you
I think
basically
so.
end the
Shortens
season.
every season.
You end the season 10 races before the end of the season. You know, so it amplifies things.
Yep.
Shorten things up by 10 races. That's a big deal.
Yep. Exactly.
Anything else with Cup before we move on to Xfinity?
No, I'm kind of bummed that we don't go to New Hampshire twice anymore. That's probably my last point. Like, I really like that race.
Yeah, I mean,
even though Truex dominates, it goes to show you can have a really good day, even if there's a dominating performance by one team.
Well, my wife asked me this weekend before the race rained out, why don't we go to New Hampshire? And I legit, after this race, looked up the mileage to see what it would take to drive out there. Of course, we got to drive through Canada to get there or around the lakes, and it's actually a longer trip than Atlanta, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So
you just did that.
Yeah, it's a hike for us, but yeah, I mean, it's certainly piqued my interest a little bit more. I mean, it's on the short list of tracks that I'd be interested in going to now.
Sure.
So,
Yep.
So there you go. NASCAR Xfinity Series kicked things off on Saturday with the Ambetter Health 200. John Hunter Nemechek goes back-to-back, gets himself another win, 137 laps led. Another dominating performance by a Joe Gibbs racing car at New Hampshire.
The protege, perhaps.
Yeah. This race looked like Justin Allgaier's race to win until they started hurting themselves.
Yep.
And that was all it took. Justin Allgaier slid through his pit stall, and the race was over. Got wrecked.
I don't know how he rallied. He was in a bunch of crap.
Yeah, that restart
still
wreck, man, that should have ended his day, and still comes back to get a 6th place finish. It's pretty incredible.
He won a stage.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my God.
Yeah, absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But he looked like the guy to beat before that. Definitely a bummer for Junior Motorsports, who has struggled this season and finally saw some momentum here, and then nothing really to show for it at the end of the day.
Yep.
Like I said, 6th place finish isn't anything to sneeze at, but when you had a season like they had last year, I mean, this sucks for them.
Yeah. The 20's looking strong.
Yeah.
It's
well, I mean, he's getting ready for a Cup ride potentially next year, right?
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, he's the guy, right? I mean, they're not going anywhere else than him.
Yep. Austin Hill's hanging around, but John Hunter's seems to be in a different league.
John Hunter's in the pipeline, so if Truex leaves, that John Hunter's getting that seat.
Sure.
You gotta assume. So.
Yep. Absolutely, you do.
I mean, you've got other people in the pipeline, but nobody ready to jump to Cup like he is. I mean, Sammy Smith isn't ready for Cup yet. He's not going there.
Long way to go. Yeah.
So definitely, you'd think you'd go with the guy with the Cup experience, and John Hunter's probably ready to make that step. It's probably time within the next couple of years. And I mean, I'm assuming if Truex doesn't leave this year, he'll leave next year. So, more than likely a ride there for John Hunter. Just got to hold out, but on his way to a championship right now, potentially.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, kind of picking up where the 54 left off last year.
Yep.
With Gibbs in the Xfinity series. So yeah, I'd like to see. I mean, Austin Hill. He's still. I mean, that's a good ride that he's been putting into that Richard Childress team this year. So I like that we got a little bit of. That's the great thing about the Xfinity series. We've got that new blood kind of rising. And John Hunter kind of coming back through the ranks, and Chandler Smith's hanging around Austin Hill, and you got Hemrick kind of. He was in this race, so that was kind of fun. But we've got, and of course, you always got your grizzled veterans like Allgaier. So
yeah, we'll see. I hate to say it, man, but the best thing they ever did with this series was stop the Cup drivers from racing in it.
That's right. Yeah.
I hate to say it because I was so against it, but it is.
You were. Yeah.
It has made stars that we wouldn't have had otherwise.
We did live through a pretty interesting time when it was Cup and Cup Light on Saturdays.
Yeah, but I mean, if you go back to the start of what was Busch series, that's the way it was. I mean, Dale Earnhardt raced every weekend. The difference is that back then, Dale Earnhardt, Davey Allison, Ernie Irvan, all those guys raced in this series, but they didn't race a Richard Childress car and a Joe Gibbs car and whatever. They raced their own team, which those teams, some of those eventually ended up becoming Cup teams. I mean, obviously Earnhardt's team ended up being, Earnhardt Incorporated and so all that. But, yeah, it wasn't like they were beating up on Xfinity guys with Cup equipment like it became when Roush really started dominating the series and then Joe Gibbs racing.
05 to 09 range was really something. I mean, we had a field of 40 cars and, we'd have 27, 28 Cup drivers in the field. I mean, that's how bad it got. So.
Yeah, it definitely was the right move much as, I mean, and you still get the taste of it. You still get the Cup drivers to come over there. They get to race with these guys. These guys get the experience.
It's just different times, man. Different game.
Yeah.
I'm glad you put it. I can't even, you put it best. It's just back then it was a totally different game. Now it's, something it's something else. So I like where it's at now.
6th Xfinity Series victory for John Hunter Nemechek. And 85 Xfinity Series races. Like I said, we had that restart wreck, which is very common at New Hampshire. I think it exposed an issue in all the series right now of playing around on restarts. NASCAR says, and we can dip into the news a little bit here because this is the first item in our news. But NASCAR says they're planning on cracking down potentially. They issued a stern communication to drivers about it this week. But I mean, how much can you crack down on it? Because you still, they're not, I guess they can sit there and look at SMT data from every car and every restart, but I mean, these guys are all trying to get an advantage. That's the whole point.
Yeah. And I think this is one of those shots across the bow, like you guys got to clean it up, police yourselves, we're watching you,
Can't we just do the Xfinity thing or the IndyCar thing and just green flag means go and we just go?
That would be great. But
I would love it, man. I don't know why we can't do that stuff.
SRX does that.
Yeah.
Marco Andretti flying through the field
right
off turn 4 on a restart. So that would be great, but we don't have that, unfortunately. Leader gets I guess the leader has to have some sort of an advantage.
No, they don't.
I don't know. if it's that big of a, I don't know. I do feel like the leader should be rewarded at least because I don't know. The caution takes away the leader's advantage completely. So I feel like the leader should have something.
We just can't make up our damn minds. We extend the restart zone. We shrink the restart zone back down. You can pass on the outside. You can't pass on the outside. You got to hold your line, but you don't have to hold your line. You got to stay above the white line, and except at Phoenix because blah, blah, blah. Just pick a rule, and let's just stick with that rule.
Drop the flag and let them go, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like we wreck like this every week either. Like, that's the thing is yes, it happens at New Hampshire a lot, but it's happened at New Hampshire forever. I mean, we've been racing there since 93.
We used to have single file restarts, and this was never a problem.
Yeah, I don't want to do that, though.
No.
We don't want to go back to that. That's when you have, NASCAR calls it shootout style restarts. And guess what happens in shootouts? You have wrecks sometimes because of them.
Yep. Everybody's going all out.
That's what we got. We don't have double file restarts in NASCAR. We have shootout style restarts. That's what the
There
rule
you
book
go.
says.
Shootout style. That's right.
Yes.
Oh my God, I haven't heard that in a while.
Right?
Yep, you are correct. Shootout style.
Anything else with Xfinity? I thought it was a decent race. There was some wrecking. This race gets a little wilder. A couple more drivers mad at each other. Tends to always be a little bit of a crash fest.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Apparently there's a helicopter flying over my house right now.
Oh, look out.
Yeah.
Oh, I can hear it.
Right? I know.
That's a new one.
Chandler Smith, highest finishing rookie. Second place finish for him. John Hunter Nemechek is your points leader, 33 points over Austin Hill. And yeah, it's pretty much a two-horse race for the championship right now. Obviously, again, with this system, it's all about getting to that Final Four, and then you duke it out at Phoenix. But right now, it's looking like those two are going to be the two to beat.
Yep.
There you go. As I said, news, there's really nothing to discuss. I did want to have a discussion. The IndyCar series from Toronto this weekend was streamed exclusively on Peacock. No television broadcast. They did, I believe, jump into the Cup coverage for a moment because the Cup race was rained out, just to tease it, to try and get people to jump over to Peacock and watch the race. Interesting, because they probably could have very easily stuck it in the NASCAR time slot that wasn't being used. But I think they showed American Ninja Warrior instead.
Oh boy.
So anyway, I mean, it's pretty obvious this is going to be our future. There's already talk that Amazon might do something with the summer stretch that will be exclusively streaming. You could imagine that NBC's portion of the deal will probably have at least some Xfinity races, if not a Cup Series race, exclusive on Peacock. Yep. What are your thoughts on this, James? Do we need to be concerned about this? Is this a problem, or is this our future?
This is our future, buddy.
Yeah.
This is our future. I watch all the races on streaming.
Yeah.
I watched Fox Sports on the Fox Sports app, and I watch NASCAR on the NBC Sports app. Yeah. You have to have a subscription to do that, but
right.
Or not like a cable subscription, but that's pretty much how I do it, because I'm usually watching on my phone or another device, so that's usually where I get my stuff. So
I mean, I use YouTube TV, which is essentially streaming. I mean, it is the cable service over streaming, but it's still streaming. And I'll tell you what, James, I was already going to do it, but especially when the Cup race got rained out, I re-upped my subscription to Peacock to watch this race. So it worked. If that's what they want to do. And darn well they're going to want to do it with the Cup Series, because that's the biggest ticket they can put on there for motorsports.
Yeah, and then, you've got flow racing, and how great is that?
Exactly.
And you take it with you wherever you go. You ain't got to worry about it.
I mean, if I could pay $5 to $10 a month just for the series that I want to watch, I would save a fortune compared to if I could just pay, okay, here's $10 a month for NASCAR, here's $10 a month for Supercross, and here's your hockey package, which I get through ESPN Plus. It's going to cost me a lot less, and I won't have. I mean, right now YouTube TV is, I watch USA, I watch NBC, I watch Fox, I watch Fox Sports 1, and I watch CNN. That's it.
Yep.
Nothing else gets watched on there at all. My wife watches the Lifetime stuff.
We watched Disney Plus and Netflix, and that's pretty much it.
I even think I'm killing Netflix, because I haven't been watching that. So
the kids run the show around our house. So.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I mean, I don't hardly watch. The only thing I watch on TV is racing. Everything else I watch on my iPad. So
yeah, yep. And I watch racing on my, on my devices. So.
Yeah, I do it sometimes. It just depends. It depends. But I like to sit down and actually kick back in the chair and whatever. I can't do that with the iPad quite as well as I can with the television for racing. But certainly, I mean, I've watched plenty of them on the iPad. So
yeah,
or on the computer. I watched the IndyCar race all on my laptop this week. So.
Yep.
SRX was in action this week. Little bit delayed getting to the fun flag, and then we found out it was because there was weather coming, and of course we had our first rain shortened race in the SRX series, of the weekend. Everybody who thinks that it's just NASCAR, obviously it's SRX too. But Denny Hamlin was going to win that race anyway. Denny Hamlin takes himself his first win in the SRX series.
First start, first win.
First start, first win. That's kind of the trend for some of these Cup guys coming over.
Oh, the big dogs come in, and it's Chase Elliott. I think Chase Elliott's 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Brad didn't fare so well in his first start, but oh man, Eric, this was a good race too.
Yeah,
it was a good night.
Yeah, it was great. It was. I mean, the feature stretched out a little bit because they were pretty careful with the caution flag not to throw it too often. They kind of held it a little longer than they normally do. But man, the heat races were so good. And it just I was 5 laps in. I think I messaged you guys, and I'm like, man, I love this series. I'm so happy this series is back.
Yeah, it's a fun little. It's just a fun little sideshow for the rest of the season. I mean, it's fun to watch, fun to look at. You get Alan Bestwick and Joey's up there grinning.
Joey was great. I know some people hate Joey, but I love Joey. I know I've said that enough times on the podcast, but you can hear him smiling, damn it.
I know, the whole time. Man, yeah, it was great. The guys are bumping and banging, and you got Paul Tracy doing his thing, and oh man.
Well, Denny talked about it a little bit on his podcast this
rough.
week. Denny did a good job of explaining it. So a lot of it, first of all, setups and stuff, you're only allowed a very small differential from what everybody else is running. For the most part, the setups are the same. And if you're going to make a setup change, they're making them on all the cars. So that's cool. And then he mentioned too that, they don't have spotters and the cars are wider than what they're used to in the way the bodies are compared to the cockpit. So it's hard to see where the edges are. So that's why these guys are running into each other as much as they are. But it's great. It makes for good TV.
Yeah. It was, I don't know, man. Some of these guys, God, like poor Haley Deegan got eaten alive at one point.
Yeah, but she still finished like 5th, didn't she?
Yeah, she did great. And she's running for the championship. And Brad's bouncing back through the field. Newman, oh man. And then I don't know. They never said what happened to Tony's car. He broke something.
Yeah,
broke.
They didn't say that, did they?
Because he just peeled off. So I was kind of bummed for the championship.
Haley Deegan comes back for a 5th place finish.
And then one of the coolest things that we got was Tony Stewart's light up helmet.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Like people were like digging that thing. I was like, yeah, that is pretty cool. I never seen that before.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was just some cool things, man. The only thing I would say that I hope they do this week is they pick up the pace in between the races. But I know they tweak the cars and they got to fix stuff. And some guys are swapping out cars because things are breaking.
They beat the crap out of them in the heat races like they're doing.
God. I mean, they were really banging. I mean, Denny Hamlin was bumping and grinding his way through the field too. I mean, it wasn't like he was completely clean. But you could tell how fast he was off the get. He was moving.
Speaking of Haley Deegan, she also had the best lap in the feature.
Oh yeah.
Top best lap 21.18, 85.235 miles an hour.
She said she loves that they keep bringing her back because she gets to race with some of the best drivers in the world.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, like Denny Hamlin's out there. She doesn't race Denny Hamlin in the Truck Series. Even guys like Tony and Ryan Newman. I mean, they're not that far out of the seat. I know Tony goes in straight lines now.
Right.
But that I thought the presentation was cool. I thought ESPN did a good job.
How about Clint Boyer? Clint Boyer ran pretty good for being out of the seat for a couple years.
Dude, when he said he brought 2 dark visors, that was funny. So I'm like, yeah, Clint's in. He's still in mid-season form from Fox. So.
Frontstretch.com had a good interview with him on their YouTube channel too. He was so distracted because he was signing autographs, and it was typical Clint ADD for a couple of minutes until they finally got him talking. I love Clint. He's great. Yeah,
he was good. It was. I don't know. I thought it was just a good presentation overall, and I'm looking forward to this week. I know we don't get to go to Thunder Road. Everybody's a little bummed. But it should still be a good
great track. At least we're going to a good track. All these tracks are good tracks, but at least we get to go back to Stafford, and hopefully we get the full show this weekend at Stafford instead of the abbreviated rain shortened version.
No rain. But as soon as you saw that lightning on the camera, I was like, oh, time for bed because done. Yep. I wish they would start the race a little earlier.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do?
It's Thursday night, though. I mean, it was almost, for me, it was like
Thunder, baby.
It was like, man, it almost came up too quick. I was cooking dinner while the race was going on. So
they said I was looking at some of the viewership, and it is down from when it was airing on Wednesday on CBS. But you're talking cable versus national broadcast. So there still is a difference there. I know, but I think the exposure that ESPN provides around the event is still pretty beneficial. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it plays out the rest of the season.
Tony Kanaan is your points leader right now. Right? No. Is that correct?
I don't think he's running the full season. So
I'm looking at the point standings. Oh, no, that's 2022 point standings. Never mind.
I was going to say, the Rocket Man they're terrible with their point standings.
Updated their points yet. You know what I'd like to see them do is I would like to see them take the cars that are rotating and just slap a number on them and let that car race for points too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you could have like a combined championship,
like a car championship. Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. So that's about the only critique I have. I mean, this series is great. It's all about fun, and it's refreshing to have that. And they get a little fired up, but for the most part, everybody just enjoys it and has a good time. And you see that with these Cup drivers that wanted to come over and do it, and now are getting the opportunity to do it. And you hear afterwards, I mean, Denny had a blast. Clinton looked like he had a blast. These guys are having a good time doing this, so it's very cool.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, back 9 p.m. this weekend on ESPN, or this Thursday on ESPN. We are at Stafford once again, and they're bringing in Ryan Preece for this one.
Ryan Preece is going to race this one, yes sir. Kanaan will be there. Biffle's coming in. Suarez, and Kenny Wallace.
Yep, there you go.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
But you've and then after that, Rowdy's coming to town.
Yep.
So keep an eye out for that.
Yep.
Harvick, he'll be back in Berlin. So yeah, we got some heavy hitters coming back here.
Yeah, I was telling you before we started recording, I got my vacation time put in. It was approved today for Berlin, so
yes,
can't wait.
I screwed the pooch. I'll give myself the black flag right now. Our good buddy Derek Winter invited me to come out, and I was all for it, but I forgot. I have family and prior commitments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just don't know. You just don't know where the priorities are, man.
That's part of it. That's part of it. If golly, I just can't catch a break.
You just put me on the phone with Aaron. I will handle it for you, James.
Yeah. You see how that goes.
You won't have to worry about having any other commitments at that point if you let me handle it for you.
That's the hard part. Is it's not her fault. It's
my
own damn fault for being me.
I know. I get it. Oh yeah, I know. You're you. I mean,
I am me.
You are the reason that I started going to races as media because you bailed on me at Eldora.
That's
so.
You needed something to do.
Yeah, right?
Yep. Oh my God.
NASCAR Cup Series and I think the Truck Series and possibly Xfinity. No, just Cup and Truck, I think, this weekend. I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway, Pocono Raceway this weekend. It is the highpoint.com 400. Only 200 level seats available, select 200 level seats available in the grandstands for Sunday's race, James.
All three series are racing this week, by the way.
There you go.
There you go.
So tickets are going fast. If you want to go to Pocono this weekend, you better get your tickets. Good to see another good crowd at a race. Things are trending up in the attendance department, which is awesome. With that, we get to make our picks. James did beat me this past week with his Christopher Bell pick by a whopping 2 points. So I am 99 points behind.
14 to 12.
Yeah. 99 points behind. But I'm swinging big this week, James. I am going with a Hendrick car, and I think it's the only one I got left. I'm going Alex Bowman as my pick.
Oh, he's going with the Alex Bowman. All
Finally
right.
pulling out the Alex Bowman pick.
So
Alex needs a win, so
I keep waiting for you to use Ross Chastain.
Yeah.
But he's turned into a pumpkin, so I don't know if you are going to use Ross Chastain.
I got him penciled in. He's coming.
Okay, all right. Well, I've got a couple of guys I can use. I'm saving. I got a couple of guys I'm trying to save too. However, went back through Racing Reference and was looking at a couple of things. Somebody who has ran pretty good here, but doesn't have any Cup stats yet. Going with a rookie, and I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs.
Nice.
Pocono is good to rookies.
You're not wrong.
And I will. I'll take Ty Gibbs here to have a good day.
It's a really good pick.
I'm taking him over the likes of Joe Lowe, William Byron. Suarez, some playoff guys who are in the playoff hunt. Stenhouse, haven't taken Stenhouse yet.
This would be.
I know I'm using Stenhouse. Though.
This would be one of those weeks that it'd be really good to have, like, I don't know, Kyle Larson available.
Yeah,
you know.
I toyed around with Byron, but I'm saving William Byron for Michigan. I think because I think he's going to come in there and but that's the thing, like. I could use Bubba Wallace, so I want to make sure I use Byron at some point here. But I'm kind of and Jolo, so I've got a couple of guys I got to figure out where I'm going to stick them here, in the next couple of weeks.
I am saving Ross Chastain for a place that he was a little too good at last year. That's my hint for you.
Oh, okay.
So
the place where he used an access road, perhaps.
Possibly, it could be. Could be. I don't know. We'll see.
The first full send from Ross from last year. Yeah.
Right. How about fantasy, James? I know you weren't a big fan of how it turned out. I got a fourth place finish out of it, though.
My God, I felt like I was doing so good. I had Brad, I had Hamlin, I had Bell, Blaney, and Logano, and I didn't have Martin.
I would have done even better, but I left Larson out in favor of, I forget who I had him in favor, who I left him on the bench for, because I wanted to I'm running low on Larson starts, and I figured, well, he's running well at the end of stage 2, but it's like, is he going to keep it together for the whole thing, or do I want to save him for somewhere better? And so I decided to save him, and I should have kept him.
Yeah, I'm bummed. I made I made an error, but anyway, those late cautions really killed me. Anyway, Tandem Draft Tony gets the win. Barron Speedway finishes second, so good luck catching him to everybody.
Yeah, right.
Including me. 3-time champ was third. Eric, you were fourth. And then Cole Custer's last stand fifth. I was sixth. So again, still in my purgatory. I just can't get out of the middle of the field. And then overall standings, Barron Speedway first to the 4,000 club. Tandem Draft Tona 3,837. And I am in third, 3,755. Ranger coming. 3-time champ is coming. He is in fourth. Lurking. I'd say lurking. He's doing it again. That son of a gun is doing it again.
Yeah, I think it was Joey Logano that I was debating pulling out, or maybe it was Tyler Reddick, but either way, Larson really didn't get many more points than them, so I did okay. I guess I wouldn't have really improved my position any. I probably would have been in the same spot, so there you go. Any shout-outs this week, James?
Yeah, well, I already used my black flag once, so no, I do have one more black flag, though.
Okay.
I do have one more black flag.
Well, I don't have any shout-outs, so the only thing I was going to talk about Junior and the Lobster, but we already did that, so no shout-outs from me. So who's your other black flag?
Oh, boy. So there's this guy. Not me. His name is Brett. That's all. He's on Twitter. I'll say it. It's on Twitter. And he tweeted out, Stewart Haas has never been an elite team. Excluding Tony Stewart and Kevin Harvick, the team only has 15 wins in 14 years. With good drivers, Newman, Kurt Busch, and others. Stewart, Harvick won so much because they're all-time greats. So I had to retweet Brett and say, oh, how did the all-time greats do at Hendrick? How did I say that? Oh, how did the drivers who are not all-time greats do at Hendrick? So that's all I said. So that one really cheesed me. I was mad. I got mad about that.
Nice.
The team's got 2 championships since it started. Give me a break. They're not the most elite team, but they're pretty elite.
So you did that on Twitter, huh? I didn't think
Twitter.
I didn't think you used Twitter anymore.
I still you know what post on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was another guy who was laughing about Ross Chastain hooking Harvick in front of the field at Darlington. I got after him too.
Oh, geez.
So that's where I'm at right now.
I was after people today about Chicagoland Speedway, so that was my Twitter rant today.
Speaking of Chicago, I saw, this is Adam Stern, the NASCAR Chicago Street Race helped Chicago hotels hit the biggest pre-July 4th weekend revenue totals in nearly a decade.
Yeah.
According to Choose Chicago, the city's tourism arm.
See, they're
propaganda has started.
They are going to be wrapping their arms around that sucker next year.
Oh boy!
You might as well get the bulldozers out and bulldoze Chicagoland Speedway, guys. It is not coming back. It is not happening. I love that place. I want to see it back. They're going to run a super motocross race this year there, and they'll probably just leave the dirt on it. It's done. That's all there is to it. I have a black flag as well. Did I lose you, James? Are you still there?
I'm here, buddy.
Oh, okay. You got real quiet.
This is the part of the podcast where you settle in and take us home.
Right.
That's what I'm doing. I'm ready to go.
So my black flag, James, I don't know if you saw this during the broadcast. NBC kindly cut away, so we weren't able to witness the stupidity of the tow truck drivers who hooked up to the front end of Eric Almirola's car when he lost the rear wheel. And the rear wheel was sitting there hanging on what was left of the hub, and they were going to tow the car away with that wheel hanging out from the back of it. And I'm just kind of curious as to whether they ripped the rear end off the car or somebody grew some brains and decided to tow it from the rear. I don't know. But
oh, my God.
I was laughing when I saw that. It's like, they can't tow it from the front. There's only one tire on the back, and the other tire's hanging there. It's going to rip right off.
Oh, man.
That's
laughing. Good stuff. That is good stuff.
That's all I got. Pocono Raceway this weekend. James, where can people find you on social media if they wanna tweet at you?
At James Cush on Threads.
Yeah, there you go.
Or if you want to make me mad, hit me up on Twitter. Same thing.
I'm at T Super Speedway on Twitter, at eyoungdbm on Threads. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast there. And also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and Anchor. Subscribe now for new episodes each week. And if you go to anchor.fm/thesuperspeedway, you can leave us an audio message, and we might just play it on the show. NASCAR All 3 Series head to Pocono Raceway this weekend for some more tricky triangle action. We'll be back next week to break it all down. And until then, everybody, let's go racing.